Kyle.
They're not in my
Kyle.
pockets. I'm afraid I'm too stressed now to intro the show, Casey. So it's gonna have to fall on you tonight.
Oh, okay. You always do this to me. You do this to me. Hi, welcome to Ideology, y'all. How's it going? We have our co-host Kyle Curtis. Oh, you're on the other side. Our co-host Kyle Curtis. And then we have Digital. Please say your name because I always say it wrong, and usually I just say Hammurabi.
Harambe.
I always say it wrong, and so many people say it different ways that like I never know what the right way is. So usually
like
you're
Harambe.
a dead gorilla. Yeah, Harambe. That's what I usually say. Digital Harambe. No offense.
That digital Harambe. That's even better. I like it. I like it. So you guys can go to zoology next, right?
Yeah.
Well, hello, you two lovely people on the other side. Sorry for the hell of a start. We are just batting 1,000 this week, and I swear, like, it is not. People make jokes in the comments on the videos about my, I guess my capabilities with streaming. It was not me. Okay, Jimmy, don't say a word, but it was not me. But yeah, how are you guys doing? It's good to see you again and have you back on.
Good, thank you. Glad to be back.
Yeah.
So you're in the 2.3K subs now, right?
Which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And very unexpected. I thought we'd be like another 6 months before we got there.
That's what
I
happens when you
remember
put a Sumerian grammar video up. So
I hear you. Wipe them shoulders off. I remember when you were just 4 subscribers strong in the beginning. So it's good to see you guys grow like that. We're going to have a great chat tonight about something very interesting, even though my co-host would rather be somewhere else. I'm just going to go ahead and put her.
Well, I mean, I'm a political person. Like politics is kind of, politics, atheism, rocket science. That's kind of what I do.
Would you like me to send you updates as the show goes if something incredible happens, like Beto O'Rourke wins
Jimmy,
or something?
Yes, that would be great, Jimmy.
Yes.
Thanks.
Did you guys vote today?
I'm
I
not
did.
allowed to, so I didn't.
I did.
Is it rude to ask people how they voted? Is that
Yes.
is that a thing? Okay. All right.
Yes.
Thank you.
I did it like this.
Nice. I walked into that. I
Thank
totally
you.
walked into that. Okay, so let's see what we've got. Just to let you guys know what we've got coming up for the rest of this week. Tomorrow is going to be Phil Hartzum, the guy that does. He's a fighter. He's a MMA fighter, and he also does piano and art. He's got a lot of talent, so he's going to be coming to talk about how he combines those two. Thursday is Isaac Arthur, which everybody is wanting to see. That's going to be a great talk. We're going to be talking about the possibility of one day being able to upload your mind into a I don't even know what you upload your mind into, but it's a way that you can live forever by just continuously inputting your memories and your consciousness into another being. So, Casey, would you do that? I can't. Anybody else can't hear her?
I have no idea why we lost Caitlin's audio. Caitlin,
Oh,
did
that's
you...
my fault.
Oh, okay.
That's totally my fault. That's my bad. I'm sorry. I put it
Don't
on mute.
do that to me.
Sorry, I know
He's
Jimmy
watching
about had a heart
Fox
attack.
News, but-
No, I'm definitely not doing that. I don't know. I mean, maybe I think I might, but I'm not sure. I never really considered it. Like I never considered like what the benefits would be and what the, downfalls would be.
With my luck, they'll probably offer it like the day after I kick the bucket. That will be that will be my luck. And then next Thursday, we actually have you'll be having Casey and I on or I'm sorry, next Tuesday. Yeah.
Tuesday, yeah.
The guy from 𝀭Manor, which is the most extreme haunted house in the world. His name's
so
Russ.
Excited.
They've been featured on. They have a Netflix documentary out that he was just in. There's a lot of buzz going around about it now, but nobody has made it to the end of this haunt. It's 8 hours long, and the most anybody's ever made it through is 6 hours. And you can actually go to their YouTube channel. It's called 𝀭Manor Presents, and you can watch each person as they go through this haunt. You go in 2 at a time. There's a waiting list of 24,000 people to go into this thing, and usually the average that anybody lasts is around 20 minutes. That's the average. So
yeah, and the person who made it 6 hours was a woman. So girl power. That's pretty cool. And so somebody in the chat, I just noticed, I just wanted to address this in the chat. The 2 things they don't do in the haunted house are any kind of sexual advances, and they don't cuss, surprisingly enough. So those are the 2 things they don't do.
Right. And everything else is on the table. They've broken a guy's tooth before, shocked him with car batteries, submerged them in water for long periods of time. It's extreme. You can go, like I said, you can go watch the videos and see for yourself. But the average is
they did one guy with a cage on his head, just a cage on his head filled with snakes. Did you see that one?
I did. I've binge watched a lot of them so that I can ask him. But here's the thing though. I talked to Russ. I talked to Russ yesterday to kind of go over a few things, and interesting thing, the haunt this year, it moves around and you never know where it's at. Nobody knows the location. You go to a point. He gives you like a pickup point that you go to, and they come by, pick you up, and they take you to where the haunt is. But this year it is right in the same city that Casey is in right now, Huntsville, Alabama. So I was talking to Russ, and he said, your co-host, she lives here in Huntsville, correct? And I said, yes. And he said, tell her I will advance her to the front of the line, and she can bypass 24,000 people to be, this is true. This is true, to go through. And he said that would be a great thing for us to come back and talk about how it went. And I said, look, she asked me recently to marry her and her soon-to-be husband. And I think if I asked her to go through this haunted house, she would not let me at the wedding. Like, she wouldn't let me anywhere near her or anything else. So
I will. Here's what I'll do, Kyle, just for you. If you want to come down here, you can stay with us and you can go to the haunted house.
No, not a chance.
That's a generous offer, though, Kyle.
I know. No. I'm very. I will forego my opportunity and allow you to have it.
I'm on my way. I'm headed down. I'll be there soon.
I would go. I would go in.
Oh fuck no.
I was gonna say you can stay with us too, but I would go into it like while it's not like active, just to like look around and see it. If he would let me do
that defeats the purpose. Although that may be a good idea. I don't know if he does that, because he's very secretive. Like, even the videos that he puts on, he doesn't show a lot. But I love haunted houses, and I love haunted houses because I know they can't touch me. Now, you get into a place where they're feeding you those huge cockroaches and putting your head in snake. The water would get me. They have like an ice cooler that they put you in, and they chain it shut, so you're like bent over in a ice chest, and then they start pouring water in it, and that'd be it for me. But that's the other thing too. You guys, you cannot quit. You sign when you go in. You
can. There's a safe word.
Only in two special occasions has there been a safe word. Otherwise, they only take you out if you pass out or you're medically or mentally unable to go any further. Like, you stop responding. But he only did the safe words for 2.
You stop responding to CPR, then they'll take you out.
Yeah, that's true.
At first, I thought they were saying even if you die, they keep going.
I'm pretty sure that
you don't have to keep going.
They put glasses on you.
Yeah.
It's like weekend at Bernie's.
But he'll be with
Halloween
us
style.
to go through how it started, how it began, and how everything. I'm very excited to have him. So that will be next
Me too.
Tuesday. Okay.
Yes.
So, Dr. Bowen and Megan, how many? Here's a drinking game when they come on. Every time they look at each other with that, you'll see the look. It'll happen. It'll happen. It always happens. But they have this.
Damn it, Kyle.
Take a shot when that happens.
I don't drink.
Pat your nose when it happens, Casey.
Okay. Got it.
So introduce yourselves, lovely people, and let everybody know who you are if they don't know already, and what you do and why you do it.
Cool. Hi, I'm Megan. This is my husband, Joshua Bowen. We are both Assyriologists, which means we spend an awful lot of our time reading old texts and lots of history and doing translations of Sumerian, Akkadian, and Hebrew. Josh has his PhD from Johns Hopkins University. I'm going to be graduating with mine in the next year, maybe 2 years. It depends how much work our children let me get done. And we run the YouTube channel Digital Hammurabi, which can be entirely attributed to Kyle and Steve. We didn't really know that YouTube channels existed until Josh came on the Non-Sec and someone said, you guys should have a YouTube channel. And I said, oh, that sounds like fun. Let's do that. And now it's our entire life.
Well, at least something positive came out of us and the experience here. Good.
Exactly. So we make lots of videos about history and ancient languages and lots of exciting things like that.
Awesome. And Dr. Bowen, anything you want to add?
I really like her.
Oh God. Here we go. Here we go. Do you guys ever leave each other like cute notes in cuneiform? Just randomly laying around.
The first year we were together, I did actually write him a love letter in cuneiform, in Akkadian. Like I wrote it in English and translated into Akkadian, and then wrote the Akkadian in cuneiform, and then sent it to him in Germany.
But that was just in our first year. It's all in Sumerian now.
Jesus Christ. Nicholas Sparks is going to write a book about you before it's over with. And Jim, guys, by the way, I know it's a big night for elections. Jimmy's going to break in if there are any kind of major updates so that we all can be, well, for KC's sake, we all can be on top of the Democrat. Everybody think that we're going to go Democrat tonight? What's the feeling?
I hope so.
I'm not saying anything because I just don't know.
Well, she's English.
Oh, I didn't. No way. You are not.
You never noticed, did you?
How can you tell? What, Casey? What, Casey?
You're a mess. You're a mess.
I know. Okay. So
my boss legit got mad at me today. He legit got mad at me today because I voted. So I live in Alabama. Obviously, Kyle just told everybody that. But and so I live in a sea of red. Right? No, that's fine. I think pretty much.
That was knowledge.
Oh, it is. Pretty much everybody knows. But I live in a sea of red. And so my boss legit got mad at me today because I voted, because he knows I don't vote Republican. So he got mad at me because I voted. And then he got mad at me because I was wearing a blue shirt, which I wore on purpose to piss him off, to be fair. But like, he was like, did you wear that shirt on purpose? And I was like, yes. He got mad at me.
North Carolina is interesting in that we're like a bandwagoner state. Whoever's the most popular candidate is usually the way that we kind of swing. It's so weird how it's so weird how we kind of fluctuate that way. But it seems like I'm surrounded by just Republicans everywhere. I mean, that's the feeling that you get. I mean, everybody down here is very conservative, but it doesn't turn out that way. So we'll see. Maybe you can gloat tomorrow, and if it goes the other way, then poor you tomorrow, Casey.
I don't
wear
gloat.
red.
I actually don't gloat.
Oh, you do gloat. Everyone gloats.
No, I don't.
You wore
at
blue
work.
today.
I don't gloat.
You wore blue
I don't
today on
believe for a
purpose.
moment that Caitlin doesn't gloat.
Right.
That wasn't. I wore blue today on purpose just to piss him off. That's not gloating. That's
What's
just
the point of gloating?
poking. It's
That's
poking the
taunting.
bear.
I feel like
It
there's
is.
some
It's taunting.
There's some
But
gloatage
to
there.
be fair, like I had to know how deep the well went with this one. So I asked him the other day if he thought that our country's under invasion at the southern border, and he said yes, which is the dumbest fucking answer he could possibly give me.
The caravan.
So that's why I wore the blue shirt. The caravan is invading our country. So that's why I wore the blue shirt, because that was a stupid fucking answer. So
Fantastic. Excellent. So, Dr. Bowen, I'm gonna let you introduce what we're gonna be, kind of going through, but it stemmed from the last time you guys were on. And by the way, let's talk about another issue that you're involved in, Dr. Bowen. The cult, Lord Rael, and those guys. So I sent their 10 questions that they asked for, and he literally badgered me for. He asked me 3 times in 2 days, where are these 10 questions so that we can get these answered and get this, this next stream set up. And I have sent him a follow-up.
Is this Angelus Domini, or is this the other special character?
This is the one that has been authorized to grace us with his presence, his eminence, whatever. But he badgered me for 2 days about these questions. I sent him the questions. I've sent him a follow-up since then. Haven't heard a word about him. So either we asked really good questions and he's frightened about having to answer them, or we asked really dumb questions and he just said these guys aren't worth answering. So I'm not sure which of the two that's going to be. But
well, I mean, we can prod. I think that's fine. They put up, I don't know if you saw it, but they put up a counter to my Torah code on the stream.
Oh God.
With
the one that says you're the Messiah?
Yeah, the one that proclaims, Kyle, that I'm the Messiah.
They countered that. Well, and we are dealing with people who answer apocalypses that don't happen in emojis. So
well, it was really actually very comical, because it was almost as if I was treating this code as something really serious, right? I'm actually calling myself the Messiah. Because they said, look, what Dr. Bowen won't tell you is that before his name is Mem Beit Sheen, and we all know, obviously, that Mem Beit Sheen means a shameful thing. So a shameful thing is J. Bowen the Messiah.
Do they not get that you put this up as a way of an example of how stupid and easy it was to form whatever kind of phrases that do they not get that?
It's entirely possible that I went to the computer program, took 10 minutes and found that exact same word before Rael's name. I may have found Steve McRae is Enlil, Steve McRae is Yahweh.
Don't tell him that.
Yeah,
please.
So,
yeah, definitely.
But I'm excited. I'm excited to have them push back.
The thing is, Kyle, with that code, you can be Yahweh too.
Yeah, if you'd like to be.
Everyone can be Yahweh.
Yeah.
I don't want to be Yahweh. He doesn't have a very happy ending.
That's true.
Also, he's kind of a dick.
Yeah. I'm not.
I don't know how many of you have read the Bible, but he's.
Can you look in your Bible code and see if it says Kyle's happy with who he is? See if that exists.
There's no question that I can find that.
But yeah, it's frightening that they thought that you were being serious about that, and they put a counter out to you. That just shows you how bored they are. I mean, that's not a lot of action going on at the Rael camp.
I was going to say there's not much to do in Baja.
And I won't spoil anything. But I contacted Michael and asked him if he had any interesting information that he'd like to present, or that he thought was interesting to share. And he sent me a huge file.
Oh, great. Anything good?
Quite. And scary.
Okay. I'm kind of hurt that I'm not involved. I feel left out. Oh, see, there was a look. Drink up, audience. Drink up. But here's I forgot what I see. That's what happens. The look is so mesmerizing that it just makes you forget what you're saying. And I had something really profound to say this time, like groundbreaking.
Of course you did, sweetie. Yes, we know.
Casey, do you want to go ahead and watch your Fox News, dear?
No.
I'm just kidding.
That's not even funny. My boss watches Fox News in his office literally all day. He has a television in his office and it never goes off.
I would have bet money on
It's
that.
gross.
That's not surprising at all.
It's gross. It's
all.
so appalling. And he calls CNN Communist News Network.
Oh, that's accurate. Or the Clinton News Network. Because she's killed so many people, and her email servers were just the worst thing ever.
Downfall of society.
Emails. Okay, let's go ahead to speaking of emails. Let's go ahead to some ancient versions of mails. Clay mail. That'd be accurate. Clay mail.
Clay mail works.
Look at that. See, I am sharp tonight.
Actually, I think if you don't mind, I'd like to but I'd like Megan to. She should introduce it. I don't let her.
Oh God.
I
Do I need to separate you two?
Sorry.
Do I need to separate
You
you
can
two?
try.
I thought you were saying I can try. You could try to introduce it if you want.
You can do a great job. So if you've heard me talk about really anything to do with cuneiform before, you'll know that we have some really fantastic ancient letters, and I love them because they're either hilarious, really, really informative, or just really drive home the humanity of people who lived several thousand years ago. So we spent some time and went through some books and some articles and picked out some letters that we think are particularly interesting from a bunch of different time periods and different places.
Do you mind if I give like a little bit of a just
Please.
sort of? So one of the things that happens when you study the ancient world, and in particular ancient Mesopotamia, is that we have so much preserved, right? We have so many clay tablets, hundreds of thousands of clay tablets, and they're the originals. They're not like copies of something. And in addition to that, we have an awful lot of monuments or statuary that have inscriptions on them. So much of that, maybe not so much, but an awful lot of that,
A lot of it.
is commissioned by or composed by elites, right? So people that kings would make royal inscriptions, right? They would say, hey, scribe, write down my great accomplishment that I did when I went on that campaign. Mm-hmm. And then the next year, add to it and redact some of the stuff from the earlier campaign that you wrote about and make it sound a little prettier. So a lot, when you deal with those types of texts, you have to learn to, part of historiography is learning to figure out what's reliable and what's sort of pomp or hyperbole or whatever. So when we've used this a lot, but when the king Sargon, his name means the king is legitimate, which may very well mean he wasn't legitimate, right? Because
we just had him on last night. Lovely fellow.
Huh?
No. No.
He said Sargon.
So one of the things that we really that Megan was saying kind of touches on I don't know, how did you word it? It's personal, or it's humanizing, yes. Are these letters, right? Because this is like a husband writing to a wife, or one merchant writing to another merchant about a sale or something.
Having said that, a lot of the letters we're going to be reading today are actually between kings. Sorry.
A little caveat. Can I ask a question? Are there any? This is just my male brain here, but are there any like really good like love letters? You know what I mean? Like really good love letters. Like
you don't get like emotional declarations or particularly private information being transmitted via letter.
No ancient sexting.
There are a lot of love poems.
Yes, a lot of poetry.
Oh, it's boring.
No. Oh no.
Oh, it's not.
No, it's not.
Take your 🀭 stone and plow me.
Stop it. Stop it now.
I think Josh just propositioned you guys.
Are you? Does it really say that? Take your stone and plow me, please.
Yeah.
Oh,
🀭 stone.
That's excellent.
Who will plow me with the 🀭 stone?
I'm glad to see that they used plow like that back then too. That just shows like how we just
That's not you.
just what a dirty, naughty species we are. That's great. That's fantastic.
I mean, the thing is, you see that sort of stuff in the Song of Solomon too. I mean, it's not like it's just restricted to the ancient, to a Mesopotamian text. It's just, they sort of spin the Song of Solomon. Oh, that's not really about sex. Yeah, it's about sex. Is it? Oh yeah.
Stop it. I thought that.
Come on, somebody.
That, God didn't want you to. He doesn't want you to cross plows, or if you have the same plow as your neighbor, he doesn't want you to plow with your neighbor if you have like parts. If the spade is the same, or if you have spades, don't do it. But I have
that's not true though in ancient Mesopotamia. So, if there's some omen series that talk about if you have sex with another man, you'll be blessed.
You'll receive really good fortune.
Yeah, really good fortune.
That's true. I can vouch for that. I can vouch for that. But I heard maybe you guys have heard this. I don't know if this is true or not. There was a friend that was telling me this a while back, and I never bothered looking into it, but this reminds me of it a little bit. But the word fuck, right? He says that it derives from some kind of royalty era where the nobleman or something could get a pass to have sex with people in the court. It was called fornication under the consent of the king, and so they were fucking, F-U-C-K. Sounds great, but I wonder if there's any truth to it.
I don't know. It sounds a little suspicious. It's too neat.
It's too perfect. I agree.
It is. I hope it's true. That would be amazing.
Yeah, I should Google that. I don't know why I don't.
I heard that.
Anyway, go ahead.
When you hear things, Kyle, you should look them up.
I can do nothing right for KC tonight. What did I do?
Sorry, I'm getting text messages from my mom and all kinds of people. My mom's really excited right now because 31% of the vote is counted in Texas, and Ted Cruz is losing.
If Ted Cruz
my mother
wins,
is a life. Okay, my mother is a lifelong Republican.
So the problem is that Austin is already in, and that's where he got the lead. Now he in the West has some counties that are going to come for him because that's where he's from. But most of the places that aren't reported yet are traditionally Republican. So he was already predicted to have
that's
an
what I
early
told her.
lead. Yeah, don't get your hopes up yet.
Oh, that's what I told her.
Okay, so back to I'm sorry to take us off on such a tangent, but you know how that's how my mind works. So,
he left because we said Ted Cruz.
Most people, that's what I would do.
I don't blame him.
Yeah.
I don't blame him. Okay, we're done with Ted Cruz now, Dr. Bowen. We're done with Ted Cruz, I promise. You can come back.
Sorry.
Anyway, please, after you, sir.
Oh no, so I think it's just there are ways to try to get at what religion was like, and to do that, you can go to liturgical texts or ritual texts, but if you can find prayers, like individual prayers, that tends to, it's not a fail-safe sort of thing, but a foolproof sort of thing, but it can get you closer to individual thoughts on religious concepts. And so I think the same thing in a sense is true of letters. And it's one of the reasons that Megan is so excited about them. Because it's, well, like you said, it's humanizing. It's sort of getting under that layer of
hyperbole and propaganda.
There you go. So
this has got to be one of the only cultures that have still remnants of that, because like civilizations like Egypt and with writing on papyrus, that obviously will be gone after at the time the library burnt down, so you lost all of those records. But the clay tablets aren't really going anywhere. And I always bring this up, but you brought up the coolest point the first time you came on, Dr. Bowen, where you can literally still see the fingerprints of these people that are
Mhm.
writing in the tablets from where they held them. So I think that's that's awesome. That's really cool.
It's very cool.
So, are you going to read these like a Civil War dramatic reading where it's my dearest Jennifer?
I was going to do it in a Monty Python voice, but
Oh,
I wish we could. Unfortunately, with a lot of letters, we have one half of the conversation. Because normally with the excavation of archives, people only keep the letters they receive. They don't necessarily have copies of those that they've sent. So unless we're really, really lucky and we hit like their cousin's house 4 miles away, we don't get both sides of that. What you can do, and especially with some of the letters by one of the kings that we're going to read, is they may quote extensively from the letter they received, and then write their reply to it. So you can get a little bit at what's going on through that. But no, a lot of the time it's just one half of a conversation.
I wonder what their mailboxes looked like. And the poor mailman, he had that's a job there.
Well, the thing is with the letters, quite again, not so much with the royal letters because they get very long. But I mean, you might be talking about a tablet like this size, maybe, because they were so heavy. You couldn't, and because often they were carried over great distances. Paying a messenger to carry like a tablet this big would have been prohibitively expensive. So they condense what they're saying onto very small tablets.
Wow,
it's like early Twitter.
It is.
It's funny how we go back almost to, I mean, well, not in a literal sense, but we are familiar with tablets today in a completely different way. Almost like it's just reusable, but it's the same, the same concept. Think about this big that you can write endless things on and send it back. So how will they reinvent the tablet, another 1,000 years from now? That will be a good question. And if you're able to upload your mind, you will find out.
Then you will find out.
Okay. So let's find out what they thought back then.
So to start with, I have, and this is a letter that I've told you guys about before. It's a letter that my advisor loves. So anyone who takes a letters class with him in Akkadian will translate this. It's an old Babylonian letter and it's absolutely hilarious. Tutu Magir sent me 7 ushumi from Tur-Ugala. 6 I sent on to Shamash Lamassu, the official. Just 1 I kept to eat myself. It tasted excellent. Had I known how good they were, I'd not have sent a single one to Shamash Lamassu. Now, as to why I'm writing. When you go down to Tur-Ugala, tell the orchardist who lives there he should dig up 15 ushumi for me and send them here. Ushumi doesn't have a direct translation, which is why I've kept it in the Akkadian, but it's a rodent of some kind.
Oh, no.
He's basically talking about how delicious the rats are that his friend sent him. And if he'd known how delicious they were, he wouldn't have sent 6 of them on. He'd have kept them all and ate them himself.
I am telling you, maybe there is a God because I was born in the right time period.
Well, I mean,
I would not have made it back then.
This same word is used. I don't know if it's in a medical text. But the same word is used. You cut open an ushumi and you fill it with myrrh.
Oh,
I don't know if you're monetizing this, but you use it as a tampon.
Oh no! Stop it! Stop! Stop! Oh, that's going to take me a second.
Sorry, no more.
So you mean to tell?
No more shimmies.
You mean to tell me that a rat? So they were the original Richard Gere.
Well, was that like a pregnancy aid?
Yeah, I mean,
it was supposed to be a remedy for infertility.
Yeah,
it was supposed to get you pregnant.
Yeah, it gets pregnant.
How? I don't know, but
you know what it is, and that's how a lot of the stuff stuck around today. You had a guy back then that wanted to troll people, and he wanted to see what he could get people to believe. And he's like, "Oh, you can't have kids? Well, this magical rat you could just shove up there will make you have children." Same thing with religion. That's how we got religion. It's like, oh,
yeah,
you don't want bad things to happen? There's a guy up there. Ask him. And that one just stuck. Thankfully, we got rid of the The rat tampons.
Rat tampons. Yeah.
So instead of play text, it would be like squeak text today, right?
Oh,
Ew.
that's
Mm.
rough. That's rough.
Your turn.
Okay, my
No
turn.
more rats, I
I
promise.
don't-
That was the end of the rats.
Yeah, we led with the best one.
Oh, no, I think the Amarna.
No, that's true.
It's
That's
gonna be
true.
hard to top rat tampon. I should tell Russ at McCabery Manor that he might want to incorporate that in his haunted house.
Oh my god.
No, we're not going to tell Russ that.
I mean, that's horrible.
Russ can't do that.
Okay.
So that was an old Babylonian,
Mhm.
by the way. So the same period, so early second millennium, there was a thing called the river ordeal. And we have a whole bunch of letters. We won't go into detail, but we have a whole bunch of letters and documents from the city of Mari. And Mari was up on the Euphrates. And
You are the father.
Is what-
and it was a city that was captured by Hammurabi. And anyway, we have a large cache of text that we found there, well preserved. And so one of the things that we know from that area was there was this thing called the river ordeal. If anybody's watching and knows about in the Bible, Numbers chapter 5, where the woman that is suspected to have committed adultery with somebody secretly, and the husband didn't have any evidence for it, he could bring her to the priest, and they would perform this ritual. And the ritual was you'd have a glass of water of some type, and they would, say some prayers and swear some oaths, and they would take dirt off of the floor of the tabernacle and put it into the water. And that dirt probably had excrement and blood and other things in it. And she would swear that she had not committed adultery, and she'd drink it. And then she'd go home. And there were things that would happen to her physically if she'd committed adultery. It seems like it could be a miscarriage. It's translated that way fairly frequently. And that's not a bad translation. But that sort of idea that we don't have any evidence, and so we have to do something that will let God judge her, is sort of the idea. So this river ordeal is something similar to that. So Megan has typed up some notes here. She did really well preparing this. Which was awesome. Okay.
Drink.
So persons were required to prove a statement by plunging into a bitumen well. When the person undergoing the ordeal was overcome by the toxic liquid.
Hold on. Hey, hold on. What is a bitchin' well?
Yeah.
Bitumen.
Oh, it sounded like you said
Bitumen.
bitchin'.
Thank you. I thought you said bitchin' well, and I was like,
So
Oh, I
did
did.
I'm waiting.
Can we? Wait, somebody isolate that clip of him doing that, please.
And then Luke.
Can we call it bitchin' well? By the way,
Yeah, I
In
want
the
to
live
call it a
chat.
bitchin' well.
this can't go on without being announced. But back on the mouse thing, real quick. Sweet Heathen in the live chat said mouse pads. That wins the night. Job well done, Sweet Heathen. Job well done. All right, back to the bitchin' well.
Back to the bitch and well. So when the person undergoing the ordeal was overcome by the toxic liquid and fumes and died, their statement was proved wrong. It appears that most jumpers were proved wrong. It's interesting. So this is a letter sort of in that context. To my lord speak. Your servant Meptum says, about the plunging party of Shub-Ram and Hayasumu, those are names of two people, that my lord dispatched. I dispatched reliable agents with that plunging party, and they first let a woman take the plunge, and she came out.
Oh,
After
hey.
her, they made an elder take the plunge, and he
Out of
resolved
the
the
bitchin'
claim
well.
of...
Yep.
She came out of the bitchin' well. Sorry, I can't.
It's like the ring.
Oh, man.
Sorry. I'll behave, I promise. For a
that's
few
good.
minutes.
He resolved the claim of 80 dikes of land inside the god and came out. After him, they made a second woman go down, and she came out. After her, a third woman. The gods spat out the third woman. As the elder
God
established
damn.
80 dikes of...
He spat her out.
Yep.
What does that mean? What does he mean when he says
We'll get
that?
to that.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
So you should just read all of these. I should just sit here and look at you because your voice is so much better than mine.
Oh my
You
God.
should just sit there and look at me.
Touch your
Yeah, I
nose.
should.
Touch your nose. Look, everybody, that one right there.
two.
Finish
That was
off
two
whatever you
drinks.
have in
That
your
was two.
whatever you have in your glass. Drink. Finish it off on that last one.
Oh God. How was I say it? Oh, okay, there. Thank you. We're not willing to let the three. Okay. As the elder established 80 dikes of field area, and the gods spat out the third woman, the men of 𝀭Support were not willing to let 3 other women take the plunge.
So sorry. What this is it's a boundary disagreement. So they've got 2 groups of people claiming the same area of land. And what they're doing is they are taking people from each group, getting them to swear a statement about who owns the land, and then throwing them in the well and seeing who comes up again to decide who owns it.
Oh,
This sounds like
well.
a really reasonable process
isn't
for
it?
making
Very
decisions.
scientific.
Yes. I wish that we
I'm
could
just
do this
impressed
at my
with-
work.
I'm impressed with the amount of flannel that's going to be there with 80 dikes.
That's rough. Let's see. They affirmed, city and territory are not ours. The elder fell to the feet of the men of Subram, saying, do not let the other women plunge, and they must not die. We shall procure a title guarantee concerning city and territory. In days to come, no one must raise a claim against it. City and territory are Subram's. The courtiers of Babylon and the something of the city had a title guarantee written down before the agents. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Forgot what was on the other page. Herewith I have dispatched that plunging party to my lord. My lord must ask them, quote, further, the superior of the god...
No, sorry. We can skip the rest of that because it doesn't make much sense. So the spitting out they were talking about, apparently in bitumen wells, sometimes warm water kind of swells up and pushes people out. So that was taken as a sign of favor from the god of the river, or the god of the well, saying that I'm not going to kill this person. They are telling the truth, so they can leave. And in this particular letter, because they had those 2 groups of people, everyone from one group lived, which means that by association, they were all telling the truth. So it means that everyone in the other group was lying. So if the truthful people lived, then the lying party would be killed. So one of the elders of the first city basically said, they don't need to go in the bitumen well because they will definitely die because they're lying.
Interesting. It's kind of like what they used to do with the witches.
Yeah.
And they would put them out in the water because that's obviously the best way to check for witches.
Oh, definitely.
Although I think the documentary Hocus Pocus shed some new light on how we can better search for witches. So
I love Hocus
And by the way-
Pocus. It's the best
by the way, that was-
documentary I've ever seen.
it is a great movie.
I
love
don't know
movie.
that one.
Oh my God, Jimmy, will you kick Dr. Bowen off? But we need to keep Megan.
You weren't supposed to hear that. I said it very quietly and subtly.
Sweet Heathen
Have a
was
good
gracious
night.
enough to say that I misread that. It was Ben Green who said mouse pad. So Ben Green, job well done. I'm sorry that I was reading in a hurry, obviously, and I attributed it to the wrong person. So I'm going to the bitchin' well now.
It will probably kill you.
Probably. I wish it would.
Damn, this got dark
Just-
real fast.
That's what your shadow cloud above me all night long is just doing to me. So it's your fault.
Oh yeah.
You're
I
just
have a
so
shadow
angry.
cloud.
You're so
I'm not
angry with me
angry.
tonight. Listen to you. Listen
I'm
to
not
that.
angry
that,
with
that
you.
tone. I'm not angry.
What?
It's total. What is it? Projection, Casey.
Projection. Oh, okay.
Projection.
Oh, so you're angry
Okay.
with me? Is that what we're talking about?
We're moving on.
Sorry, I stepped
after
away.
the
Did
show.
you say my name?
No, Jimmy. Nobody's
yeah,
talking
it's
to
not-
you.
It's not about you, Jimmy.
I'm sorry. But
He didn't hear. He was watching Fox
I'm
News.
just kidding. You're the
did
hero.
ask.
You're the hero tonight.
You did ask, so
Well done. That's awesome.
Well played.
Okay. Sorry. This is why I like having you guys on. It's always so much fun when you guys come on. I've been
We
looking
try.
forward to this. We get caught up in such serious things sometimes that we just can't kick back and joke. So
I mean, sometimes you just have to sit down and think about eating rats.
yeah,
And using them as
or,
tangents.
Yes.
right, yeah. That's
I mean, don't say
that's the
that.
one to get over. That's the one to get over.
I
I'm,
prefer
uh,
the
we
bitch
have
and well.
and the bitch and well, exactly.
Bitch and well is
Exactly.
the best.
We have a couple of letters from the Amarna period, and the Amarna letters are really cool because they are a collection of letters between like the great kings of the time, and they were excavated at the city of Amarna in Egypt.
We should tell them about.
You go for it.
All right, so there's a period. 14th century, 15th, 14th. I think it's 14th.
14.
Where you have in Mesopotamia. So often there are times when you just have one major power ruling. So like if you study the Bible, you hear about the Assyrian Empire and they're ruling, and you hear the prophets talking about Assyria, and or you have Babylonia under somebody
Egypt.
like Nebuchadnezzar, right, or the Egyptian Empire, and they tend to have influence over a major section, right, or the majority. During the Amarna period, you have essentially they call it the Great Powers Club.
It's kind of like the United Nations.
Yeah.
Just in ancient times.
Yeah. So you have Assyria, Babylonia, Egypt. You have some vassal states in Palestine that people kind of fight over a little bit, but they all write letters to each other. And we found in Egypt, in Amarna, this archive of letters, and so it shows the letters and copies of the letters that went back and forth between these kings. It's pretty slick.
Oh, awesome! Now, when they
It's
find
big.
an archive, when they find like you said, an archive of these letters, in what like condition are they found, and in what, like in a temple, in just a ground? Where do you find
Yes.
things like that? Okay,
It
All the
depends on
above. Awesome.
the archive.
I bet you they
Yeah,
found
so-
some of the stuff in a bitch and well.
Probably. So
Obviously.
Amarna, the city of Amarna was abandoned. It was only inhabited for, I want to say 30 years, but that might be too long.
I just realized that they're making fun of me about the bitch and well thing.
I like the bitch and well. I think everyone
totally
likes
are.
the bitch and well. I think that's the point. Everyone.
It
likes
was mainly
You'll-
your this move.
So Amarna was inhabited for a very, very short period of time. After the king who built it died, it was basically abandoned, and they just left everything there, including all of the palace archives from the reign of that king. It was Akhenaten, who was a bit of a
Rebel.
rebel. Yep. Often credited with trying to bring monotheism to Egypt. Exactly how much truth there is in that, you'd have to ask an Egyptologist, but they didn't like him very much after he died. So they abandoned his city, left all his stuff there, which means we have this fantastic collection of letters, because they didn't take them with them.
Was he that pharaoh that broke tradition with how they would do like the sculptures of them, like they would do sculptures of pharaohs and like beef them up and make them more muscular than they were, and more robust than they were, but he actually went and wanted to do it actually how he looked, and it was like a stark difference. I mean, it looks completely out of place, like his particular bust.
Yeah, no, there's a bit of a discussion about how realistic his depictions are, but you're right, they are completely different to all other statues of pharaohs that come before or after him.
And we think he might have built the Sphinx.
We do?
No.
Oh.
Well, funny you should say that. I have a geologist. I have a geologist coming next Friday to talk about the weathering on the Sphinx because he specializes in that. Yeah.
That sounds
Interesting.
Cool.
What's his name?
Oh. Go ahead and let me find it, and you
Okay.
while you're talking.
So this letter is from the king of Babylon. Oh no, from the pharaoh to the king of Babylon. And this is one of the ones where you get chunks of the original letter quoted in the response, which is really useful. And the pharaoh is kind of pissed at the moment. Basically, the Babylonian king has accused him of marrying his sister, and then she died, and the king didn't tell anyone. So he's like, dude, where's my sister? None of my messengers have seen her. She has to be dead. Why are you lying to me? And Pharaoh's like, you are jumping to conclusions, sir. She is definitely still alive and totally not dead. And why would I lie to you?
He said she's alive. Mm-hmm.
Egyptian soap opera.
It is. These are completely and utterly soap operas.
His name is Robert Adam Schneeker. I hope I'm saying that right. Schneeker. Schneikr. Schneeker.
Your guess is as good as mine.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the king that we were.
Oh, obviously. You had Hammurabi, Sargon, and then Robert Schneeker. King Robert Schneeker.
King Schneeker.
King Schneeker, I take it.
I really do have a PhD, people.
He's from
smart.
the town of the Bitchin' Well.
She's never going to let that go. Never going to let that go.
I don't think I am. I think it's wonderful. I love it.
But in these letters, though, a running theme is interesting because they're not really dealing with issues that are far away from what we still, either talk about or probably have back and forth about. Just the context changes and the way things happen change, but the principle or the general concept of what the letters are about seem to be a theme throughout history. There's always
it's interesting because actually the opening line here, the Akkadian's a little debated. Some people have translated it "Make America Great Again." So,
oh God.
Hold on, I have to read. Kyle, are you doing super chats at the end of the show or?
Yes.
Okay. Never mind then.
Sure are. Okay.
There are several that say, "Please shut that Josh guy up."
No, actually, somebody just said you're bitchin'. You're pretty bitchin'.
Yeah. It says, Joshua, thanks for being the punching bag on the show. We all think you're pretty bitching, but Kyle won't read this anyway. Ha ha. Kyle read it. Now what?
There you go.
Anyway. So, say to Kadashman Enlil, the king of Karadunishi. Thank you, Karaduniash. That I've spelled that wrong. That's why I can't pronounce it. My brother. Thus Nibubo.
We'll call her Dwight.
Why are you reading this one?
Oh yeah,
we'll call her Dwight.
Thus Nibmu Aria.
Thank you.
We were going to name Oliver that, but
we decided against it.
Dwight sounds like a
great
lovely
king.
lady.
I'm taking over now. You've done the difficult bit. I'm good. Great king, the king of Egypt, your brother. For me, all goes well. For you, may all go well. For your household, for your wives, for your sons, for your magnates, your horses, your chariots, for your countries, may all go very well. It's the equivalent of, I hope you good. For me, all goes well. For my household, my wives, my sons, my magnates, my horses, my numerous troops, all goes well. And in my countries, all goes very well. I have just heard what you wrote me about, saying, here you are asking for my daughter in marriage, but my sister, whom my father gave you, was already there with you, and no one has seen her so as to know if she is now alive or if she is dead. Bitch, you are not marrying my sister until you tell me whether my daughter until you tell me whether my sister is alive. These
That's
are
quite
your
the-
words that you sent me on your tablet.
That's quite the nice way to say that, though. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not sure if I can send you my sister until we figure out what happened to the last one that I sent you.
Exactly. They're very diplomatic.
I think it was the equivalent of, "Can I marry your sister?" Bitch, please.
Oh,
Did you, however,
hey,
ever
there's a good
send you
idea for you guys to reinterpret these letters how they would be
Yes.
done today. That would be hilarious.
That would be
Mhm.
amazing.
And
I mean, we
change
could do that with the
and you
Amarna.
have well, and you have to change the names. So like what
Yeah.
so Godless Engineer and I have a Bible podcast, and while we're doing it, we change the names. Like throughout Genesis, when we were going through that, we had like a trailer park, and all the characters, like we named them different names from what they were in the book. So like Rebecca was Becky. So like we kept them kind of close. But like
Nice.
it was it's super entertaining.
Who was
like- I feel like-
I mean, at
Methuselah?
least it entertained me.
Methuselah was
Methuselah?
Martin.
I don't know. I don't know what we did.
Uh,
I don't remember. That's
maybe.
Genesis was a long time ago
I apologize.
when we did all of the names. I don't remember what all of them were.
The trailer park, though, is actually probably more accurate a story as to how things went down, if it went down that way. Because, you know,
It was really fun.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think that you guys would be great at doing that, making up your own characters and
that's a good idea.
reinterpreting these letters.
Yeah.
Did you, however, ever send here a dignitary of yours who knows your sister, who could speak with her and identify her? Suppose he spoke with her. The men whom you sent here are nobodies. One was someone from Zakara, the other was an ass herder. And I mean, he's not going to know anything
Wow.
anyway. There has been no one among them who knows her, who was an intimate of your father and could identify her. As for your writing me, you addressed my messengers as your wives were standing gathered in your presence, saying, "Here is your mistress who stands before you." But my messengers did not know her, whether it was my sister who was at your side, about whom you yourself have now written. My messengers did not know her, and still you say, "Who is to identify her?" So basically, it's not my fault that your messengers don't know what your sister looks like.
They're
Because she
ass
was right
herders.
there. They're ass
Yeah.
herders and idiots. Exactly.
These ass herders have 99 problems and a bitch ain't one. Got it.
Why don't you send me a dignitary of yours who can tell you the truth, the well-being of your sister, who is here, and then you can believe the one who enters to see her quarters and her relationship with the king. And as for your writing me, perhaps the one of my messengers who saw this woman was the daughter of some poor man, or some Kashkian, or the daughter of some Hani Galbatian, or perhaps someone from Ugarit. Who can believe them? The one who was at your side, she did not open her mouth. One cannot believe them at all. These are your words. So again, the messengers saw a woman, but I mean, who knows who she is? You probably hired her from one of these inferior nations and got her to stand there and pretend to be my sister. So,
The
Not
Democrats probably hired her. She's
probably.
a crisis actress.
You're gonna trigger people now. You're gonna trigger people
I
now.
know. That's okay. That's kind of like what I do, right?
Are the people that are talking in this letter, supposedly talking, are they the ones that are actually writing these tablets, or is it done by a scribe and they're kind of dictating what they want to say?
Yeah, I mean that's debated. It's probably no. I think we have pretty good evidence that it's dictated.
Mhm.
Now that I think about it,
Probably to an
Awesome.
audience as well, which is
yeah, it's been about 4 years since we did these, so apologize for not
Well,
having that.
You would never know. I mean,
know
you're
you should.
you're doing bitching. You're doing bitching.
But if your sister were dead, what reason would there be for one's concealing her death and presenting someone else? May Amarna, the god, be my witness. So your sister's not dead, I promise.
Was she dead?
We actually don't know.
Somebody call the Unsolved Mysteries guy. You remember that theme? that we used to play on?
They can look
Oh.
it out for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, the rest of it is just about golden chariots and stuff.
Is
So-
that the one that has the gold melted down?
No, you've got that one.
Oh, I've got that one.
Josh has another letter from the king of Babylon to the pharaoh, so the other direction. And one of the common themes through these letters is send me your stuff. I do not have enough stuff, and basically the floor of your country is paved with gold, so send me all of the gold.
So this was PayPal back then.
Yeah, exactly.
The interesting thing
Kyle,
about
send me all your shit.
Clay
That doesn't work.
PayPal would
Do
be
I
right
have
with
to
you.
like? Do I have to write it fancy on fancy paper?
It'll be in
You
cuneiform.
do. I
so
mean,
you
it
won't know
doesn't
what
always
it's
work.
talking.
There's this weird balance they struck between always wanting to send letters and be in contact because that was like a friendly diplomatic thing to do. So you always are really quick to send a letter and ask for stuff, but you're not so quick to like send a response with stuff that you've been requested.
Just like today, just like there's you get plenty of messages for something, but not very many in return. So I'm interested in how. Okay, so you had these two civilizations that were writing back and forth, right? One of them was sending clay tablets. The other one was sending probably papyrus scrolls or coming from Egypt, right? Or they
No,
tablets
Also
too.
clay tablets.
Yeah.
All of these are written in Akkadian, and the responses were in Akkadian as well.
So one of
So
the
how do you-
things that we know, one of the things that we know is that Akkadian was the lingua franca of the day. So it was like the common tongue. And so scribes were trained all throughout the ancient Near East in the Mesopotamian form of writing. And we actually have scribal, evidence of scribal training from these different areas. So it's actually pretty interesting that Akkadian becomes for a long time before Aramaic. It's the language that's used throughout the Near East.
So how do you transport? Like a mailman carries letters or scrolls in a sack and jumps on a horse and goes. But if you get knocked off your horse or you drop your bag and the tablets go bye-bye, then I imagine you're pretty screwed, right?
A lot of them went in envelopes, clay envelopes, because they were
Now
sealed.
that's interesting. How they do that?
So, I mean, you can, okay. So I don't want to talk too much. Basically, you have just a piece of clay that's, been formed and then
Mushed around.
yeah. So there's a hollow space in between, and you seal the dried tablet inside.
Are you being serious?
And oftentimes, what they would, sorry,
Are you being serious?
and yeah,
Yeah.
and
So they'd have the hardened clay letter, and then they take wet clay and form it around the outside, and then roll a cylinder seal across the top of it.
or they would rewrite
Yeah,
the letter
weirdly.
on the envelope.
What? Why?
Because see, the idea with clay is that there are circumstances where you could like re-wet it and change a word, write something different on the outside. So
Got it.
That way you open it up and you see if the outside matches the inside and see if it's been tampered with. And the cylinder seal does the same thing because you can't open the envelope without breaking that seal.
Yeah.
So this mailman would literally be carrying 2 letters with him each trip, right?
I mean, probably a whole lot more than that,
Yeah.
but yeah.
How much do they weigh? Like one of these letters that you're reading, how much would one of those weigh roughly?
Yeah.
I'm not actually sure the size of the Amarna tablets.
No, I'm not sure.
I mean, it's not like a.
They're not huge. Cuneiform actually, the signs can be really quite tiny.
Yeah, it's not a metric fuck ton, but
It's pretty close. You know what they could have done? I have a better idea. They
You say
could
bitchy.
have cut open a rat and put the clay tablet inside.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
good.
sealed the rat.
and then impregnated with it.
Impregnated somebody with the clay rat tablet. That
Oh,
sounds
or-
I like
That's
this.
right.
You know, based on a conversation that we had with one of Megan's favorite people one time, Brian Forrester on the show, it all makes sense now because these tablets that people were carrying around could pick up the internet because they had Wi-Fi from the obelisks. It all connects
Exactly.
now.
That's very
It
true.
all comes full circle.
That makes sense. Yeah.
You know what? I'm glad
It
we got
does
to
make a lot
this. Feels like a champion moment right now. We got to the bottom of it.
Yeah.
They could just send it
We
to
made it
Egypt.
to
They didn't
the
have to
end.
send a guy.
Kyle, we made it to the end of the internet.
Yep.
I don't know what to do right now. Like, what do you do at this point? I mean, we don't want to be boastful or gloat,
I don't know.
but
Pack up your shit, I guess.
There's nothing more to do.
well, I'm retiring to
There's nothing
Florida,
else to
where all the other crazy retirees go.
Oh Christ, don't go to Florida. Come to Alabama. It's so
Speaking of
wonderful.
You
Florida,
have to.
not looking good for the Democrats right now.
Shocker.
Yeah. The Tennessee went to the Republicans, so pretty well the Senate. I mean, we already kind of expected the Senate wasn't going to be in play, but it's already pretty much
Yeah.
not in play anymore.
Yeah,
and
I
I
wasn't
think-
expecting the Senate to be in play.
It actually looks like Democrats are down a seat too. So,
Oh,
yeah, but Beto, that whole thing's still exciting to watch. That one's not over. But barring a miracle, the Senate's definitely screwed. Florida looks like it went pretty red this time. Well, so the Florida races are extremely close. There's only 3% left, but the Republican is ahead.
well, that's not shocking. Take whatever you want to happen in real life, or whatever you think should happen in real life. Florida will give you the opposite of that, no matter what it is, no matter what situation it is. It could be
Florida's
anything.
usually a swing state, so it's in a way it makes me pessimistic for the rest of the night. Like if the swing state didn't react to how like just overtly racist Trump has been for the last week about the caravan and those ads, and that didn't incentivize the Latino vote to come out and vote against the Republican ticket, I'm not really feeling great about the rest of the country, but we'll see.
It's amazing you
Well, I
expected
mean,
Florida
even-
to pull out something sane and
Well,
righteous.
Well, Florida was one of the places where one of those super racist ads went, and I'm not talking about the racist one that they ran on Fox News. I'm talking about the robocall. I don't know if anybody heard the robocall. There was one in Florida and one in Georgia, but they were like, it was straight out of like slavery times.
Yeah.
It was really, really bad.
The
It was
one
really, really bad, and
impersonating
so
Oprah was gross.
that was horrible. And the one in Florida was almost as bad as that.
I don't think
It
I've
was
seen any of
gross.
them. I can't do the
They're-
political ads. I really can't.
Oh yeah, they're just robocalls. There's no video to them.
Oh, I got you.
But yeah, they were
okay.
pretty horrible. If that
So-
can't get people out to vote, I don't know what can.
Well, keep the faith, people. Don't be. It's only Florida, and we, like I said, we kind of expected that.
It's just-
So.
Fuck 'em,
but
it's just Florida.
Tennessee was the big battleground one that they were looking to, and that one has been now again. It's Tennessee, but as far as like
Right.
the Senate is out of play. I mean, barring an actual miracle, the Senate is out of play.
Well,
The
there you
House
go,
is
Christians.
still in.
It's your time to get on the phones to God and get that miracle in. Let's
Yeah.
make it happen. This will be the
Pray.
The
Two
time.
or three
Thoughts and
gathered by
prayers.
name.
I'd like to order
Um,
one miracle, please. All right, I'll shut up now.
all right. Okay, Dr. Bowen, please. Where were we?
All right. Yeah, we're just reading these Amarna letters, and there's another good one here, and then I think we move on to another
Yeah,
genre.
sorry, do you want to skip the... We've got more, I hope your horses and sons are well and happy. So yeah, that one.
From the time that the messenger of my brother arrived here, the brother is the other king that he's writing to. They call themselves brothers. From the time the messenger of my brother arrived here, I have not been well. And so on no occasion has his messenger eaten food and drunk spirits in my company. If you ask your messenger, he will tell you that I have not been well, and that as far as my recovery is concerned, I am still by no means restored to health. Sounds like relatives of mine. Furthermore, since I was not well and my brother showed me no concern, I, for my part, became angry with my brother, saying, has my brother not heard that I am ill? Again, brother is the king that he's writing to.
Has the Pharaoh not heard that I am sick?
Don't you
Why
know?
have you
Sounds
not
needy.
sent me a bunch of flowers and some grapes?
Why has
sounds
he
needy.
shown me no concern? Why has he sent no messenger here and visited me? My brother's messenger addressed me saying, "It is not a place close by, so your brother can hear about you and send you greetings. The country is far away, you moron."
It sounds like
Who's going to
my
tell your
grandma
brother?
sometimes. You never come visit.
Yeah, exactly.
Who he's going to tell your brother so he can immediately send you greetings. I feel like Brian Regan could do a good bit on this. That's it. Okay. Would your brother hear that you are ill and still not send you his messenger? I, for my part, addressed him as follows, saying, "For my brother, a great king, is there really a faraway country and a close by one?" And for his part, he addressed me, saying, "Ask your own messenger whether the country's far away."
People don't change. I swear, people
If
don't
you
change.
don't believe me, ask your friend.
Even
You
back
go
then,
walk,
ghosting
motherfucker.
Ghosting people back in
That's
ancient Sumerian.
Oh god.
It goes on a little bit, and the Babylonian king says that he's going to send a bunch of gifts to the pharaoh, but not all of the gifts he wanted to send because it's just the weather isn't great right now, and he doesn't want them to get damaged on the way. So as soon as the weather improves, I promise I will send you all the stuff I said I would send you. And he continues, "May my brother send me much fine gold so I can use it in my work. But the gold that my brother sends me, my brother should not turn over to the charge of any deputy. My brother should make a personal check. Then my brother should seal and send it to me. Certainly, my brother did not check the earlier shipment of gold that my brother sent to me. It was only a deputy of my brother who sealed and sent it to me. When I put the 40 minas of gold that were brought to me into a kill, not even 10, I swear, appeared. So you should send me all of this gold, but you have to check it yourself because the guy that you got to send me gold last time did a really shitty job. And what he did was he sent me gold statues that were actually wood wrapped in gold foil. So when I put those statues into the furnace to melt them down to get the gold, I was left with like a quarter of the gold that I thought I would have and a pile of
Charcoal.
ash.
These guys need a war or something. They have too much time on their hands than to sit around
really
and bitch
do.
about who doesn't come to see them and what they want from the other king.
Yeah.
Go battle, people. Go
Yep.
battle.
And the last, this is a really short one. The last Amarna letter we're reading. This is a really awesome letter because what it does is it shows you a kingdom entering into this like diplomatic elite club. This is the king of Assyria. And Assyria up until now has been quite a small minor power. They've been a vassal of Babylon, so they've been ruled by other people. And writing to the pharaoh of Egypt is like saying, screw you, I am too important, and I'm going to join your club whether you want me to or not. And what is fantastic is that after this letter is sent to the pharaoh, you have the Babylonian king who still considers Assyria his property, writing to pharaoh and saying, don't you dare write back to that upstart. He doesn't deserve to write to you. He's my property.
Yeah, it's like an airman, bypassing his sergeant and writing to the general. That's what it is.
People were so petty back then too. That's so comforting to know that this is not a thing that isn't, unique to us, that even back then, pettiness. And
it's funny because
ideas.
the pharaoh wrote back to the petty guy and said, pull out your rat tampon.
Nice. Drink. There's
I'm
a little
sorry.
drink.
Say
nose,
to the
Casey.
king of Egypt, thus Ashur-ubaliu, the king of Assyria, for you, your household and your country, for your chariots and your troops, may all go well. I send my messenger to you to visit you and to visit your country. Up to now, my predecessors have not written. Today, I write to you. I send you a beautiful chariot, 2 horses, and 1 date stone of genuine lapis lazuli as your greeting gift. Do not delay the messenger who I sent to you for a visit. He should visit and then leave for here. He should see what you are like and what your country is like and then leave for here. It's just short but sweet, but it's kind of cool to get that little window onto diplomatic relations. I enjoy it.
How accurate do you guys feel that the translations are in these things? Like, are they pretty solid? The
Yes.
translations that people can get from them. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And especially with the Amarna letters, and it's standard practice when you're translating. If there's a word that is just debated or can be read a different way, you put a footnote in the bottom of the page so that people who are reading it know the different translations that are possible, so you can make your own decisions on what it should say.
For our religious friends, can you explain what a footnote is, or source references?
I won't mention which stream it was, but I watched a stream, Kyle, that I'm sure you're very familiar with, recently, where there were several people that were quite frustrated with another individual for not understanding that concept, or better yet, simply reading a line or two out of a source and not actually understanding said source.
There are so many people that could be. I'm trying to go
Yes.
through my head real quick and
I have a question.
sure.
Do other religions not do footnoted Bibles and shit? I grew up as a Mormon, and their books are filled with footnotes, but it's not like referencing proof. It's referencing like this scripture refers to this scripture over in the Book of Mormon. Is that just a
That's
Mormon
the
thing?
joke, Jimmy. That's the joke.
Oh, I was just wondering if it's only a Mormon thing.
No, but they're filled with footnotes, but they don't go anywhere. That's what
Yeah.
the Strong's Concordance Bible, that thick thing that's about that big, that has a letter mark beside literally every other word in the book.
That's kind of how the Mormon books look too.
Yeah.
You know, the Strong's Concordance is such an interesting book because it's intended to be sort of like a study aid for the layman, right? The problem is that it tends to make very dangerous people, right? Because in a sense, you don't have to understand Hebrew, you don't have to understand Greek, you don't have to understand Aramaic to feel like you know how to use it.
What about
So you
Reformed
end up-
Egyptian? That's a made up
that.
language.
What's
Mormon.
interesting about it is that, you know, the way the thing is set up is you have the Hebrew word, let's say, for example, and let's take something common like the word Elohim, so the word for God, right? And then it puts, like in English, you know, like in any dictionary, it'll give you the different ways that word is used, the way that it's translated in the biblical text. And it will give you every usage, like every way that it could be translated, no matter how many times it's translated that way or not. So, for example, Elohim is, you know, like it's 4,000 occurrences in the Old Testament, you know, 3,999 times it's translated God or gods. But then there's one time where it could be angels. So they put angels. And what a person coming to that concordance sees is God, gods, or angels. And they go, oh my gosh. And I've seen it happen. Like, people have come up with these wonderful theories about, look, the word angels actually appears all throughout these texts. And you're like, oh, you know. But then, so they reinterpret all these passages because what could mean angels. No, I can't. It's
Right.
frustrating.
I'm sorry. Are you saying there isn't a clear single translation of the Bible, and that the translations are somewhat subjective to the individual?
Would he ever
Yeah,
say
that
that?
could happen. I mean,
Fake news.
I'd want to be kind of careful with that, because the problem that I see is that so many people outside of, sounds really, I don't know what it sounds like. People outside of the academic world, you know, they have, as you guys know, they have their own bent, right? They have their own interpretation of what the text is supposed to say. And so they come up with all kinds of crazy ways to make a text say what it's supposed to say. So, like, reinterpreting, the really common one is reinterpreting something like Ezekiel 26 and the prophecy of Tyre that failed, right? Or reinterpreting, I don't know, something like Isaiah 53, or something really clear, something like Mark 13, think it's Mark 13, where or Matthew 24, where Jesus is talking about the end times, and he says, you know, this generation shall not pass away until all these things have taken place. It's like, well, that's not really what that means. No, that's really what that means.
You would think that that he would want his instructions to be as specific as. That's, you know, one thing that I always go to. If you're laying it out as a God and you want as many people to come to heaven as possible, you would think they would make it as specific as he possibly could.
I keep Ezekiel 26 in my glove box.
Yeah.
There we
That
go.
sounds so
Yay.
dirty when you say it like that.
I was hoping someone
I mean,
would
but
laugh. All right,
that's a
I'm
great
shut up.
example, right? I mean, that's a great example. So Ezekiel 26 is exceptionally specific, right? It says Nebuchadnezzar, and he's going to do this, and he's going to do this, and he's going to do this, and Tyre is going to be wiped off the map, right? Now, did Ezekiel? Well, anyway, but it's very specific. It's not like Isaiah 53 that's sort of general, that probably refers to a representative. A person back, you know, during the time when it was written, albeit late, representing Israel in general. But it's, you know, it's probably referring to a person, but it's not like there's going to be a guy named Jesus, right? And he's going to come from, you know, 123 Nazareth Lane. You know, it's
Nazareth Lane.
So that
It's probably a place, actually.
Sorry, go ahead.
I laugh because that's actually probably a place. There's probably somebody that is inspired enough to name their place 123 Ezekiel.
Nazareth Lane, yep. I
yeah,
believe
Nazareth
it.
Lane.
I believe it.
That's good.
But anyway, sorry, I digress.
Oh no, that's great. You have another one?
Yeah. So I don't know how long you guys want to go.
What time is it now?
So there's
8:42
a letter.
9:42.
We'll go to 10.
Okay, sorry. This will probably be. We can make this the last one if you want.
I'm trying to do what will make you the most comfortable. Usually, people don't like to stay on here for any amount of time longer than they have to. So,
Another real
This is
quick
fun.
update. Indiana's senator, who was the incumbent, has lost, and he was a Democrat. So the Democrats have now officially lost one seat.
hey,
Fucking
Okay,
Indiana.
lighten the mood, Dr. Bowen. No pressure. No pressure.
Okay. So here I'm going to talk about the fall of an empire. Just kidding.
Okay,
I mean,
great.
I am. But, so at the,
Hours?
at the
You mean hours?
at the end of the third millennium, there was a major power, and it was called the Ur III Empire. It was the city of Ur, and it ruled over Mesopotamia, a lot of Mesopotamia. But as all these empires do, toward the end, the ruler gets weak, right? And yet it ends up that there are always forces from the outside that are trying to get in and to take over. And then there's always some other charismatic ruler that's trying to take over. And so this is a letter between the king of the Ur III Empire, 𒀭Support, and is this the one?
Mm-hmm.
He's supposed to be writing down 𝑒𝑭Support.
Oh, sorry, I got the one where he was talking about 𝑒𝑭Support.
Oh, yeah, okay. She's got it. She knows what's up. Let me just make sure this is the one I'm thinking of.
He calls him an ape.
Oh.
An ape, which is, have I got the wrong one?
No, maybe.
Maybe.
It's not the one I was thinking of,
Oh,
but
sorry.
that's all right. Anyway, yeah, this isn't the one I was thinking of.
Ah.
But well, we can read your, because you want to do the oldest notes. I didn't think you were
I
coming
know,
back.
I can stream those tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Well, sorry, I'm trying to.
Sorry, I've got the wrong letter.
Oh, no,
I'm
you're
trying to
fine.
remember which letter this is.
Do you have an iPad?
Not a problem.
Oh, that's okay. We can just read this one anyway. But so there, what ends up happening is 𝑒𝑭Support is a general of 𒀭Support. 𒀭Support is a king. 𝑒𝑭Support is a general, and 𝑒𝑭Support goes out and he's supposed to be guarding the hinterlands. He's supposed to be
Making sure grain gets delivered to the city because
Right.
there's a famine.
And so which letter is this?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. So there are a bunch of them. We have a bunch of these letters. And ultimately, 🀭 goes out, and 🀭 wants to take over, right? He wants to rule. But he feigns that he's on 𝑒🐵. He feigns that he's on the king's side. So he goes out and he says, I have all this grain that you guys need, but I just can't find enough boats to get it back to you. Can you send me 30 different vessels, 30 different boats down here so that I can get the grain? In that how it goes? Get the grain back up to you.
This seems suspicious.
Quite
A little bit.
So this is one of the letters. I'll just read it.
This is the king 𝑒🐵 writing to a different official about 𝑒🐭, this guy who's trying to take over.
Why have you sent me somebody saying, quote, 𝑒🐭 has got his eyes upon me, so let me come to you when he falls upon me. How come you did not know how long it would take to make 𝑒🐭 return to the mountain lands? Why have you and 𝑒🐭, it's an awesome name, 𝑒🐭.
That's what I'm gonna start calling you, Casey, from now on. 𝑒🐭.
You're gonna call me 𝑒🐭.
Look, even that's a thing now today too. That was the same back then. Boo boo. They calling people boo boo. It's always existed. Tablets,
Boo-hoo.
tampons, and boo boo.
Boo-hoo. Hoo-boo. Hoo-boo.
Boo boo.
What's the actual name? Damn it, Kyle. What's the actual name?
𝑒🐭.
𝑒🐭. Oh, 𝑒🐭. Okay.
𝑒🐭.
That's somebody
Right.
that likes cars, and it is your boo. That's my 𝑒🐭.
Okay.
Not bad.
So why have you and 𝑒🐭, the governor of Girikal, not confronted him with the troops which you had at hand? How could you allow him to restore? So it's broken. Today, Enlil loathes Sumer and has elevated to the shepherdship of the land an ape which has descended from those mountain lands.
Bigfoot.
There's this concept in Mesopotamian culture that the gods are the ones that cause kingship to descend upon a particular city and a particular person, and then it stays with him and with his dynasty usually, and then at a certain point the gods, Enlil in particular, Lord Rael now more specifically, take it back. They take the kingship back and give it to another city, right? So he's saying here,
it is
today,
it is not your time anymore. It is time for a new king.
That's right. Today, Enlil loathes Sumer and has elevated to shepherdship of the land an ape which has come forth from those mountain lands. Now Enlil has given kingship to a dishonest man. Broken. At this moment, Enlil something to somebody, a criminal, to 𝑒🐭, who is not of Sumerian origin. See, the assembly where the gods are and Sumer itself have been dispersed. Father Enlil, whose words prevail, said, quote, until the enemy has been expelled from Ur, 𝑒🐭, the man from Mari, will tear out Ur's foundations. He will indeed measure out Sumer like grain. He has spoken just so. Even though you were installed as governors of the various, the others will defect to 𝑒🐭 in accordance with Enlil's word. Should you hand over your city to the enemy like your companions, 𝑒🐭 will not recognize you as his faithful and agreeable servant. Anyway, so it's just it goes on a little bit, but it's talking about that transition.
The ape is what sticks out to me in that. What's the story with the ape?
Oh, it's a mocker.
It's an insult.
It's an insult. He's the ape from the mountain.
Okay, I thought they were really seeing like Bigfoot. You know, some ape that's coming down from.
Maybe 𝑒🐭 was Bigfoot.
It could be. It's highly possible. I think that over the where would they go? I mean, they've just been hiding in those caves in the woods all this time. So, I mean, if we had tablets back then too, and we had What did we just discover that they used to have back then? Oh, boo boo. Had boo boos
Boo-boo.
back then.
Cute boo-boo.
Nice.
Do you think
She
that
was
they
bitching.
had, we we today have paper shredders that we put our mail in? Do you think they had like a guy that just sat in a jar with a hammer, and they would put the tablet in there and he would smash it up when they wanted to get rid of
Actually, what they do
incriminating
is they have.
tablets?
You say that sort of in jest, but we actually have found what are they?
Oh, yeah.
Like it's not a well, but it's like a
Where they recycle the clay.
they recycle the clay. It's a little reservoir.
They soak it in water and recycle it. And they were also used for like fill when you're building a new building and you want a level surface. You chuck old tablets in, bits of broken pottery, anything just to get a level surface so you can build on it.
They were green too. We have so much in common with these. It would be really disheartening though if you were using an old tablet that like talked shit about you, and you just happened to go get it, and you were plastering that up on your walls. It's like Cal's an idiot, and that now forever is plastered on your wall. Like that wouldn't be good.
But that's one of
Kyle,
the beautiful
it's
things.
forever on
I
the
think.
internet.
That's true. That's true.
I think that's one of the beautiful things about archaeology, or at least archaeology in particular in the Near East, but I'm sure everywhere, is that because so many things were made out of clay, when they would usually establish somewhere a city somewhere, usually on a hill of some sort, and then they would build it up and mud brick. It lasts about 50 years before you have to rebuild it, and so that mud brick would be demolished, and then you'd build on top of it. So you'd have this, what they call an occupation layer, right? It's just this layer of rubble that's used as fill, but it corresponds to a particular time, and then you build on top of it. So after you've built up several different, occupation layers, one on top of the other, and then you come back as an archaeologist and you dig down through that. You can dig down and go down in the trench where you've dug and look at the wall, and you have layers. And those are those layers. You can date them based on the things that you find in the layer. You can match that layer up with other parts of the site that have the same layer. And
Like the fossil record.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Almost.
that's right.
Interesting.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's
It's
really
neat how-
archaeology is pretty slick.
It is. I was thinking. I was watching something the other day, and it just blew my mind how it's like a book that you're able to look back into history with. And there's other things like the ice core drillings that they're doing. Up in glaciers. Like you can literally pull that up out of the ground and read the planet's climate history. It's animal history, the inhabitants of the species that have been on the planet, the vegetation, all of that stuff. So it's really neat how we as people kind of evolved from those things that we are looking back at, and the journey that it took to get to the point where we were able to be conscious enough to say, this is our connection. This is where we came from. I think that's, there's nothing greater than that. I don't think.
No,
It's
it's
full
fascinating.
And also they've pulled some of those ice cores recently. You can tell a joke's coming in. Sorry.
Yeah, I
And
saw
if
you look up.
If you skip every fifth layer, it'll spell out Lord Rael. So it's really interesting.
Nice. Zing. You would be your name is Lord Jobo. If we are doing our names like Lord Rael did, everyone, Lord Rael's real name is Raymond Elwood. So he literally took the RA from Raymond and the EL from Elwood and Lord Rael. So I would be Lord Kaiku. That's Lord Jobo. Women obviously can't be lords, so you just have to be in servitude for all of eternity. Jimmy would be
Thank you.
Jaibu.
Sounds reasonable.
Sounds good.
I get to be in charge.
You do.
Actually, so Casey, if we were to let you like maybe become
okay.
one, you would be
Yeah.
K Cook. K Cook.
I
Yep.
guess.
And it would be Melee.
Yep.
Melee, yeah, Melee. God, I'm so glad we have normal names. This just wouldn't work. But yeah, thank you both for coming on. That was fantastic. I had so much fun tonight.
Thank
It was
you.
good to laugh and learn. I think that's the most. When you can do that, that's a good show. I think laugh and learn, and we did a lot of both. I think tonight. Hopefully next week, Casey will have a better attitude. I apologize to you guys for her just meanness to me. Listen, there's no need for you guys to try to defend me in the comments. I realize that she was angry towards me, so don't do that. You don't have to white knight me. I appreciate the willingness to do that, but I know you all can see it. And
I feel like
hopefully we'll have it fixed.
you're asking. I feel like you're asking for like defense.
I just want somebody that cares.
We love you,
I
Kyle.
love you, Kyle.
I'm kidding.
I'll
I
send
do.
you an
I
Ushumi
love
if you
you.
want.
What?
You're the
The rodent.
Oh,
Because
Oh, he's
Thank
gonna
you.
send
the
you the
Apparently
delicious
they're
rat
really
tampon.
delicious.
don't do that, please.
Well, they're
Yes,
multi-purpose. You know?
let's get to
Kyle, you're the
let's
only
get-
person. Kyle, you're the only
I'm listening.
person besides our parents invited to our wedding.
Nuh-uh.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
She'd know.
It's our parents.
No,
It's our parents. It's our parents. The kid. It's our parents, the kid, and you.
Oh, I do feel. I was
That's
just
pretty
honored
special.
that you asked me to officiate. I think that's really cool. And by the way, guys, I am officially ordained as a pastor now. I can marry any of you that wish to be married. I'm not sure if that's a good omen or not. We'll find out with Casey and GE. All right. So let me read these two. Well, okay. I have a question because I've never done this. Where do I go to check out my past super chats, Jimmy?
Are you in the creator studio already?
I am. Mm-hmm.
And then I think I'm pulling it up. I think it's under the community tab. There's a super chats button.
Okay.
Let me see.
Sorry, guys. I'm
Do you want me to give some last minute, the last minute
please.
election updates? Okay,
Yeah.
so one of the battleground states is staying blue. That was New Jersey. If you've all heard of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she was the Democratic Socialist who's only 29 years old. She won her congressional district in New York.
Really?
Yeah. Florida will restore voting rights to felons that committed non-sexual offenses or murder once they've completed their sentences, which and their probation and their parole. And then
Florida did something right.
one of the fun upsets is in Illinois. The billionaire Democrat guy beat the incumbent Republican. So there's a billionaire
Yay.
Democrat for governor in Illinois.
Yay, money.
Yay, money.
Okay.
I also want to mention that. Does everybody remember who Kim Davis is?
Yeah.
Oh, how can
Yeah.
we forget?
She's the bitch from Kentucky, right? She lost her re-election bid.
Yay.
Well,
We're so sad to
Let
see you
those-
go, Kim Davis. Go fuck yourself.
with a rainbow flag. Okay, let's read these super chats real quick. Pardon me for the butchering that I'm about to do to your name, but Sigfredo Sarabia, I hope that's right. What would be considered to be the contemporary name for the superior deity in the Sumerian religion? So hashtag Rams, hashtag bring back popular vote.
So the head of the pantheon was An or Anu, but it really depended on what city you were in because each city had their own city god. So while An was the head of the hierarchy, he may not have been terribly important on a day-to-day basis in a particular city.
Yeah, I mean, your big three gods throughout all of Sumerian and Akkadian, literature and religion was An or Anu, Enlil, and Enki / Ea. Those are the big three. But then you have, Marduk, you have Asher, you have Ningirsu. It just kind of depended on the time and the place.
All right, and from another one from Sisfredo, chat post. Put 1 if you voted, 2 if you didn't vote. That's a good idea. Go ahead and do that, guys. If you voted, hit 1, and then if you didn't vote, hit 2. And then following that, he says, or he asks, can Nag Hammurabi be considered evidence of Jesus outside the Bible? # nationalism is an issue of sovereignty, not left or right wing. So
I don't think I understand.
I think it was just the first part. Was the question.
Can Hammurabi be considered evidence of Jesus outside the Bible?
I'm not sure why.
Yeah.
Evidence of Jesus.
They don't reference each other, do they?
No.
No, they're 1,800 years apart.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if they're supposed to have premonitions and stuff, right?
They have dream omens, but they don't tend to, and oracles, but they don't tend to go that far into the future.
See, this is why I think everybody's so short-sighted with the Sphinx. I mean, we cut these people back then way too short. I mean, they could have had premonitions too. It's possible.
They could have. You're right, sweetie. They could have.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Also, 🀭 was Bigfoot.
Indeed.
Yes.
This much we know.
And
Wait, who's
Touche.
Bigfoot?
yes.
Because
𝑒𝑭.
I learned at church that Cain is Bigfoot.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the wrestler? Well, I mean,
Now
he
that's
is
just ridiculous.
Yeah, I know. I know. Of all the things, that's the craziest. Yeah, they believe his curse was the dark skin being deformed and cursed to roam the earth forever, and that he's Bigfoot.
Cain was deformed because his brother, the Undertaker, set him on fire.
Yep.
Everybody knows that. So
I liked the wide agape mouth, that can't be real. It's real. In fact, one of the early prophets in Mormonism supposedly met Cain, and he was on a horse, sitting on a horse, and Cain was as tall as him on his horse.
You do know, Jimmy, that you're not allowed to call it Mormonism anymore.
The church, you're right.
The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
I actually reclaimed the word. Mormon now means an atheist who mixes sherbet and Sprite.
I saw that.
That's accurate. You did that on our that was on our show.
as impressive as the horse with Cain's story is, he did not fly to the moon and cleave it in half like Muhammad did. So I think Muhammad takes the cake on that. That's true.
Muhammad
They really
definitely
believe that.
was
Yeah, I know.
the
It's
Bad
crazy.
archery competition.
It's true. Okay, Sweet Heathen, I can't take credit. You misread. It was Ben Green. Thank you for pointing out my failures, Sweet Heathen. We read times, but
She's
I'll
on the
read it again.
cow you suck train.
Joshua, Choo-Choo. Joshua says, thanks for being the punching bag on the show. We all think you're pretty bitchin', but there for a second I thought that was going to be about me, but Kyle won't read this anyway. Enkidu 5, for the cutest couple in ancient studies, in your studies, how common was polygamy in the ancient world? Did it extend to the commoners?
Yes, is the answer to the question. Again, varies by time and place, but for example, in the Old Assyrian period, we have letters from, so there was a merchant colony in Anatolia, which is southern Turkey.
ST, we call it.
Quite. And merchants from northern Mesopotamia would travel up there and set up a trading outpost, leaving their Assyrian wives in their homeland. But when they got to Anatolia, they were permitted to take Anatolian wives while they lived up there. So that definitely happened. The Assyrian wives were not always overly thrilled by this turn of events.
We have letters.
We do have letters, and
Read some of those.
especially with things like you see in the letters from the Amarna period, with the pharaoh basically marrying everybody's daughter or sister or aunt, or really whatever princess he could get his hands on, because he thought that technically gave him a claim to other people's thrones.
And he liked,
Are you ready for this? I bet you the letters about from the wives were bitching. About their wives.
Oh, darling. Can we talk after the show?
What? Yeah.
Y'all want some news that'll give you some goosebumps? Or gave me goosebumps?
I'm not wearing pants.
Jared Polis in my wonderful state of Colorado just became the first openly gay person to be governor of a state in America.
Wow.
That's
Hey!
awesome.
Just one,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
In Utah, of all places. That's
Colorado.
That's a big FU. Oh,
Colorado.
I'm sorry.
Do you think all Mormons live in Utah?
Yes.
They do.
They have to by law. That's required.
They're going to find me one day.
Everyone knows
Mr.
that.
Atheist
Come on.
coming to you from a secret location.
Yeah.
Not in Utah.
It's, okay. The Oxford comma says, would love to hear you guys, Digital Hammurabi, swear more. So they want some fuck yous and shits and dams from you guys.
Shitty.
You're too proper.
Mhm.
I mean,
Guys,
come watch our live stream. They say penis about 4 times every hour.
Yeah.
I was going to say that. It's a bit misleading because with Megan's accent and how polished and classy it is, she's actually cussing a lot. You just don't hear it because there's a natural buffer with how soothing and
The accents. I know.
yeah, it's
Everything
so-
sounds fancy.
right.
Kyle.
It's the opposite of me. It's the opposite of me.
Kyle.
People take what I say
It's true.
50% seriousness because of the country accent, where they double it for you. So it's really not fair.
Kyle. Fuck you.
Yes. Okay.
Oh, so that sounded so pretty.
I'd
He's
actually,
like, I can't even get mad.
Dirty thing.
I want-
Good.
I want some of those British exclusive, really good sounding swears. My mother's British, so I'm familiar with
Oh,
some.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Can you say bollocks?
Yeah, bollocks. Bollocks is a fantastic word.
You
Love
call
it.
me a
Will you re-
slag.
Will you record that
You
and
are
send
a
it to me
slag.
later?
Thank you.
Yes.
That too. That too.
Jimmy just had a moment.
Yes,
he
just
he like
saying
faded
yes.
out a little bit.
I loved it.
And the last one we have is Mr. Intelligent Design. I did get your email. We're going to schedule you. Reds is busy for the next couple of weeks, so we're going to get you in here with someone else, if that's okay. Just let me know who you would like to speak to. Reds is going to be tied up with work for the next couple of weeks, so just email me with some ideas, or I'll pair you with somebody. But we'll get you in here. We told you we would, so we will. 0132132. Kyle, I'm sorry about what I etched into your drywall. I knew that something was off, and I'm going to get to the bottom of it. So
And you
I don't know how
blamed
you got
me.
in.
You blamed me. You always blame
Oh, yeah.
me.
Well, because it's always your fault. This is just the one time it's not.
But see, I didn't do it. It was 0. It was totally 0. I didn't do it.
You let him in. though.
Sometimes
So-
it's sometimes it's GE.
Fucking line, she knows it.
Speaking of, we're gonna let Digital Hammurabi plug their channel once again and let you guys know where you can follow them on social media, all of that good stuff. And then is GE free?
Is GE free? I don't know, honey.
Can you make
Are
a
you
political?
free?
Can you give us a political song? A
A
Democrat
political song.
A political song.
a freedom ballad.
But you have to wait a second. A freedom ballad.
A
Yeah,
freedom
to
ballad?
celebrate
A
America
to celebrate America.
Yeah. and the future, the future inspiration
You
for
actually
the
have
next
to wear
notebook
clothes.
too, who we happen to have on screen right here.
Well, hold on a second. They gotta plug their
Instead of
channel,
the
so you
notebook,
just-
it
you
will
just
be-
wait over there.
The tablet.
Mm.
Thank you guys. I'll be here all week. All right, Digital Hammurabi, please. let people know where they can find
Okay.
you on social media and your channel and all that good stuff.
Well, thank you guys very much for having us. So we are Digital Hammurabi. We have a YouTube channel, Digital Hammurabi. We have a Twitter.
At @digi_Hammurabi.
Yeah, I don't really use it too terribly much. But
Yeah,
she
if you
does.
see
It's a
someone
dumb
arguing with
subject.
a Christian on Twitter, it's probably Josh. Everything else tends to be me.
Yeah. She'll pass those off to
Yeah.
me.
Like,
I
Josh,
have to
someone
figure
is
out how to
wrong
do it.
on the internet. Fix it.
You can use Twitter for other things than that.
No. No, Twitter's just a dumpster fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we have Facebook.
We do.
We do have Facebook, and we have a website, and we put stuff up there. Like I just wrote a paper that is up on.
That's on our Patreon. We haven't put that on the website yet.
You should probably do the talking at this
Okay.
point.
So
Drink.
we have a website which contains things like the slides to Josh's Lentreed Sumerian glasses. We also have a Patreon. It's patreon.com/digitalhammurabi, which is a scholarship fund for a PhD student. We're going to do like an America's Got Talent elimination style. You guys choose who we fund for a summer of research.
I
We
be
put
Simon
out the
Cowell?
call for papers. Huh?
Can I be Simon Cowell?
Yes, definitely.
That was absolutely dreadful.
Kyle, you're not mean enough to be Kyle, you're not mean enough to be Simon.
Can I be Randy Jackson then? Yo, dog. That was a good paper.
You could be Randy Jackson and I
Great
should be
paper, dog.
Simon.
I think I should be Simon, but whatever.
No, you're definitely Paula Abdul, Jimmy.
Oh,
Don't be
please.
Yeah, you're
Simon.
totally Paula. And Steve McRae is like when they invited who was the fourth one they invited that one year? I don't know, the one that nobody remembers because they didn't really exist.
I
That
know
would
who you're
be
talking about, though. She'd always
Yeah.
dance to people singing and stuff. I can't be Paula. I'm totally sober.
Straight up now, tell me, though, Jimmy. How do you not take one step forward and two steps back?
I'm not
Kyle,
familiar with what you're
Jesus.
talking about.
What?
Exactly.
Oh my god. It makes me feel old. Like sometimes, Kyle, do some of these people make you feel old?
I was lying because I don't want him because he said I was her.
Oh.
Also, two Democratic Muslim women elected to Congress in Minnesota. The first
Awesome.
Muslim
Assalamu
women,
alaikum. Assalamu alaikum.
first Muslim women in Congress.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I mean, good that they're Democratic.
Yeah,
Democrats.
yeah. Yeah.
Right.
I'm not stoked about the Muslim thing, but it shows there's some progress happening of a kind.
Well, so like, here's the deal, though. We need more diversity in our
Exactly.
Congress anyway. Like the Senate is useless, but the
Give me the-
House is more representative of like people, and I feel like it should be more representative. So we need some diversity there.
Still no open
I'm all for
atheists,
that.
right?
Just not the people who believe
still
that
no
a guy
atheists.
rode up to the moon on a horse and cut it in half. We can do without those. That's all I'm saying.
Well, yeah, but I mean, Congress is full of Christians, and we could do without all of those too. So
Agreed.
it is what it is.
Well, let's just trade them all in for a better model.
I like that it means that Muslim women can be elected to Congress in America, but I don't like the Muslim part as I don't like the Christian part in other politicians.
Yeah.
That's my
Yeah.
Understood.
That makes sense. Okay. Now I'm drawing a blank again. That there was something that you said, Dr. Bowen, that I was going to. Oh man, I can't think of it now, but it'll hit me as soon as we close the stream out, and then I'll get angry. So we're just going to sit here. Everybody, please be quiet for just a couple of minutes while I sit back and think.
Mitt
and,
Romney
I
won
will-
his Senate bid.
GE and his song. That's what it was. Oh, he did.
Yeah, Mitt Romney's now a senator.
He finally won something.
he was governor for a while.
Yeah.
Good for you. All right.
All right.
So
Are
make
we-
sure you
are
check
we
them
ready?
out. We are ready. Make sure you check out Digital Hammurabi. Great channel, fantastic channel. You will learn so much, and it's so good to see the, especially the opening up. It's like you could, like your kids, I guess, when they play softball, and that you first watch them play softball, and They're
kinda
nervous to
crap.
get out there on the ball field, and now they're just out there hitting home runs. It's a good moment. It's a good
Aw,
moment.
thank you.
So, all right, for making his 77th appearance on the show.
Oh
I
yeah,
have my list
77.
right here. This is number 77.
I have to move in a little.
Oh,
right.
go vote for the Golden Nuns. That's the other thing. Go vote for the Golden Nuns. It's the 25th. All right.
Vote for
Take
us
it away,
and the
sir.
Golden Nuns.
All right, you go. You ready?
Yep.
Let's roll.
America! Fuck yeah! Limiting bodily autonomy! America! Fuck yeah! I'm gonna shit a brick when the school puts the 10 Commandments in my son's school! The America! It's fucking shit! We are turning into a theocracy! America! Fuck yeah! There you go.
That has to be the next presidential candidate.
Alabama's voting to apparently put the 10 Commandments in all of the public schools and public spaces, and to affirm that they want to fuck Roe v. Wade in a not good way.
Yeah.
So, they're in
put
the
that Satan
positive by
statue up.
thousands of votes right now.
Kyle
Go put
said
that
go
Satan
put
statue up. It worked in Oklahoma. They passed a law like that in Oklahoma, and the Satanist Temple threw up that statue of Baphomet with the two kids, and about a month and a half later, all of it came down. So I mean, throw that devil up with the school too. They'll take the 10 Commandments out real quick.
Yeah, part of that 10 Commandments amendment to our Constitution in Alabama here is that the state, like basically you can't sue the state, like the state, you can't take the state to court over it. Like you can't sue the state over it.
Well, no, sorry to interrupt. Technically, it's that no public funds can be used to defend the constitutionality of this amendment.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Now,
I don't know what they hope to get around with that, other than, oh, we're just not going to pay for the court costs. But then it's got to come out of somewhere. So I don't know what they're planning on doing with it, but apparently it's not good.
Yeah.
Is this what's the actual law? Just real quick, what's the actual law say? Is it the 10 Commandments specifically, or is it a law to pass
Do you have the amendment
religious monuments?
Hold up.
Because that's going to make a difference. If it's any religious monument, you can just battle them with putting up.
No, it's the 10 Commandments. Like it's specific. Hold on, let me read it to you.
And can he
This
sing
measure-
the law?
Can you sing it?
I could sing it. You want me to sing it off?
Amendment number 1.
Okay. Here we go. Damn. Why? Why did we do this? Fuck. Fix the camera here. There you go, babe.
This is even more fantastic.
This
You'll make 'em-
measure would allow the display of the 10 Commandments in schools and other public properties, but it would prohibit the use of public funds to defend the display or this measure against court challenges.
It's your fault that it's passing, because if you would have gotten out and sang that law at the polls, people would not be voting for it.
Kyle said that it's your fault if it passes because if you had gotten out at the polls and sang it, no one would have voted for it. Yeah. So
That was fantastic.
that's where we're at. Honey, here's your phone.
That was amazing.
Big
It
thank
was.
you to
That's sacrilegious. We're gonna burn you now.
Well, yeah. Plus, I don't know how it is everywhere. I mean, I know that some people are voting in like schools, and some people vote in like civic and city centers and things like that. Down here in Alabama, we vote in churches. Always
me too.
churches, and I hate it so much.
I take one of those little flashbang things that just burn and fizzle out real quick, and when I walk into the
You
door,
do
I
not.
light it real quick. And
You do
I
not.
went,
You don't. You lie.
seriously.
I would. I hope you wore shirts with obscenities on it, because there's no way they can make you follow the church's rules on an election day.
I'm going as Lord Rael next year, and just tell him that I am the reincarnation of
Next
Jesus
coming
Christ, and I have come to
Jesus.
cast a
but you'll
vote
have
for
a
Bernie
following.
Sanders.
That's the problem.
We'll
I mean,
get those
if
hoverboards
Jesus-
to hover in.
If Jesus had been a real person, He would have been a socialist.
He would have totally been what's her face, Jill Stein fan. I can just feel it. Totally feel it. Okay, thank you guys for watching, and I want to give a big thanks to Digital Hammurabi, and as always, the lovely KC, and a huge thank you to Mr. Atheist for jumping in and helping us out last minute. Sorry to do that to him, but fuck you, like, and subscribe, as he would say. Not to us, of course, to all of the other people in this channel. So go subscribe to all of them. They're wonderful, and they are like a family. So this family is going to go and get fucked up now. We hope you are too, and we'll see you tomorrow at 8 p.m.
Bye, y'all.